Society is separate, nature is separate, world is separate, universe is separate. That compartmentalized thinking doesn't really help, because that's not the basic nature of this creation. When you try to separate them and compartmentalize them and try to address each thing separately, you will not go anywhere. Finally, you give a man a vote, thinking that he is a political animal. Take the vote and be happy. But after some time, he will come back and say, no, I'm not happy. I have a vote, but I don't have food. Then you will say, all right, vote is not important for you now. Food is important. I will give you food. I will give you a job. But forget, take the food that I provide, take the job that I give you, and settle down. Then after some time, he will say, no, 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 I need some freedom to speak. So man needs to be looked at from an integral perspective is what Deen Dayal ji had proposed in 60s through integral humanism. Jacques Maritain made democracy and Jesus and Christ as the basis of his ideology of integral humanism. We said, give democracy as a political thought, but give religion, Jesus, religion, as a social thought to man, so that you will be addressing all the aspects of a human being. In fact, Jacques' efforts had led to the creation of social democratic movements in the world. The social democratic parties that you find in some of the European countries are all the products of Jacques' theory of integral humanism. What Deen Dayal ji did was, he did not talk about democracy or Christ, in the sense the God, the religion, separately. He made dharma, which encompasses these two things, but many more things, as the axis of his integral humanist theory. For him, a concept that has dharma as the axis is what needs to be the future of the mankind. Now, when we talk about MDGs or SDGs, these are basically, again, addressing two aspects of the mankind, two dimensions of it. One is the material needs of a man. Man is a material being also. Capitalist ideology thought that man is materialist being only. You fulfill his material needs, that is the end of it. We in India have not believed that man is material being only. But we must remember, man is material being also. In fact, Sachin ji also said that, MDGs and SDGs address so many basic needs of the man in order for the man to lead a happy life. I was at a conference in China some time ago. One Chinese scholar made a very interesting comment. He said, you Indians can never catch up with us. I asked him, why do you think so? He said, look, you are worshippers of poverty. आपके लिए वो एक क्या बोलते उसको कच्चा पहनकर घूमने वाला तो आपको संत महात्मा उनके सामने आप तो प्रोस्टेट कर देते हो. आपके लिए वो आइडियल है. Is it true? Are we really worshippers of poverty? No doubt we are worshippers of sacrifice. We revere, we worship people who give up. But that doesn't mean we are practitioners of poverty. Indian philosophy is as much about material happiness as any other most materialist philosophy, whether it's communism or capitalism in the world. What is our daily prayer? Sarvepi sukhinas santu. Sarvepi sukhinas santu. Let everybody be happy. What is this happiness? Is it otherworldly happiness? Sarve santu niramayah. Let everybody be free of any diseases. No disease should be there. It's not about otherworldliness. It's about this world, I should not have any disease. Sarve bhadrani pasyantu. Bhadrani pasyantu is that everybody should enjoy goods in life. You should have a fridge at home. You should have a car at home. You should have a sofa. You should have a bed to sleep. An air-conditioned room. Ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Nobody should have any sorrows in life. The most materialist prayer. But remember, the operational word in this is sarvepi. This has to be available to everybody. That has been our prayer. We are worshippers of happiness, but happiness to all. Not happiness to a select few. To only those who are capable of enjoying it, capable of achieving it. The Western philosophies, whether it is capitalism or communism, believed that, if you are capable, you will, achieve all those things. You will become rich. But we said no. In fact, Deendayal ji ka famous hai कि those who earn shall eat. Nay, those who are born, they shall have a right to eat. Everybody who is born should have a right to eat. That is called sarve sukhinas santu. But in order for everybody to have something to eat, everybody else has to contribute something. इसलिए दीनदयाल जी कहा करते थे, जो पैदा होता है वो खाएगा, जो कमाएगा वो खिलाएगा. One who earns will feed. तो हमने तो इस प्रकार के जीवन का एक विचार किया है. Now, the central question that I want to raise here is, nobody will have any dispute about MDGs or SDGs. As I said, these are things that an ordinary man should have. There is, period, no question. But why are they not there? We in India have had an excellent opportunity to address this issue when we became independent in 1947. We could have thought about it. Okay, Deendayal ji was not there to warn us in 1947. He was there, but he was not in a position to warn the country at that time. Jacques was propagating his theory in Europe. But we had our own people like Gandhiji who were cautioning us. Look, don't go that European path. You will suffer. And Gandhiji used to say, Europe will suffer. And today these MDGs and SDGs are because the world is suffering. And even on MDGs, remember, 15 years of MDGs, UN officials are sitting here, they know it very well. We have not achieved 100% success in them. There are still areas where we have to still work. But you know where those areas are? They are in societies which are not essentially European or Western. There the reason is you try to impose a model which is not native, which doesn't suit their genius. You have to think of models that suit your genius. We had an excellent opportunity in 1947. In fact, this debate about what should be the way forward for independent India began just few years before 47. None other than Gandhiji had raised this question. In fact, it's very interesting to hear that whenever anybody asks Gandhiji, sir, what's your vision for future of India, independent India, he would say Ram Rajya. Now, Ram Rajya, one can say it's a theocratic idea. No. Ram Rajya is the Indian model of democracy, where the view of the last man prevails. You hear about that story in Ramayana when Ram comes back after conquering Lanka and bringing Sita back to Ayodhya. Somebody in the audience in his kingdom, a dhobi, says something about Sita. Then Ram decides that no, because it's a view of, even if one man has a view about Sita, I have to, as a king, I have to respect that view. Now, there can be a feminist argument on that. There can be a gender argument on that. But the very fact that the view of the last man prevailed is Ram Rajya. So we had our own concept of democracy. Gandhiji talked about Gram Rajya, Gram Swarajya. In fact, he was ridiculed. Even today, when we mention about Gram Rajya, Gram Swarajya, the so-called progressive world ridicules us. What do you mean? You want India to live in villages? What are these MDGs all about? It's about bettering the lives of largely the people living away from urban centers, largely. It also tackles the issues of urban centers. In India, the reality has been that majority population lived in villages. But when the issue came up just before the independence, one person who stood up and told Gandhiji that you are wrong was none other than Nehru. Nehru said, no, India should follow the European model. Remember, these were his words, European model, European way. So he said socialism is the way forward. We had a dispute at that time. In fact, he tells Gandhiji, Gandhiji, you are talking about villages. And let me tell you, there is a letter in 1945, 9 September, he writes to Gandhiji, in which he says, Gandhiji, look, you talk so much about the villages. I consider villages as centers of narrowness, backwardness, selfishness. If the country has to prosper, you need to have cities, and city culture has to flourish. Gandhiji's argument was different. Gandhiji said, see, India lives in villages. When I say village-centric development model, I'm not saying villages should remain backward. I'm saying you have a model that develops villages. He in fact says, I have a dream about Indian villages. I want my dream to be fulfilled. I want ideal villages today. मैं कभी अमेरिका जाता हूं तो किसी प्रोफेसर से मिला, सर प्रोफेसर साहब कहा है, सर वो जैक्सनविल में है. जैक्सनविल क्या है? A small community away from the hustle and bustle of the city. They have built a small neighborhood. They called it Jacksonville, Jackson Village. Yeah, you have to create model good villages. You have to provide employment at the village level. But for some reason, Nehru had a different model. Nehru had the European model in mind. Deen Dayal ji, unfortunately, Gandhi died in 1948. It came on the shoulders of people like Deen Dayal ji to look at the way India was progressing under the idea of socialist society. It's a very interesting thing. If you study the first 14, 15 years of Nehruvian government in India, I'm sorry, I'm not here to attack Nehru, but it's important for this whole discussion. Nehru was never consistent about his socialism. Please read. He first used socialism. He then said, socialist pattern of society. When somebody asked what is the difference between socialism and socialist pattern of society, on one occasion he says, both are the same. On another occasion, in the parliament, when questions were raised about the failure of socialism, he says, no, you are not understanding. Socialism is different and socialist pattern of society is different. And very interestingly, in all his life, he never defined what he meant by either socialism or socialist pattern of society. We were enamored by certain ways and models of the West. We never tried our own model. What Deen Dayal ji tried to tell us was, here is your own model, based on 3 important principles. 2 of them are covered under SDGs, but even SDG doesn't cover. Those 3 are, one is dignity. Man wants dignity, friends. All your models, all your developmental models have to keep the dignity of man. When I say man, it includes woman. Dignity. Second is freedom. Man's ultimate urge is for freedom. By freedom, it's not just political. In fact, there's a very important statement that Gandhiji dictates to Miraben on 27th January 1948, 3 days before his death. It's available on the internet. Please read it, in which he recommended the dissolution of Congress as a political party. The reason he gives is very interesting. He says, we have acquired independence, but it is only political freedom. He used the word political freedom. We have become politically free on 1947, August 15. But for people living in more than 5 lakh villages of India, social, economic, and moral, ethical freedom is yet to come. They are not socially free. Social evils, about which MDGs talked a little bit. Economic backwardness. 17% was the literacy rate when we became independent.